Dr. Johnette Thatcher. So leaky gut is your beautiful intestinal lining gets small micro tears. And sometimes they're transcellular, meaning that they tear right through the cell. And sometimes they're paracellular, and they tear from cell to cell. So why is that important? Well, when you have a tear, microscopic or huge, you have intestinal microbes and toxins that are only supposed to be in the gut leak through and into your bloodstream. So they shouldn't be in your bloodstream. So when you do a blood test, you're looking for 4 different things, okay? And the blood test will then give you information about whether it's transcellular or paracellular based on what they find. Also, you'll receive from the blood test, you'll have markers that are called IgG, IgM, and IgA markers of your immune system. So this test is actually called an intestinal antigenic permeability test. Actomyosin is the first item that we're looking at in the bloodstream, okay? And so actomyosin is muscle fibers, tiny, tiny, tiny little muscle fibers that help give your cells strength and support, kind of like your shoelace. When you put your shoelace on, you are tying up and strengthening the shoe to hold your foot. So these little actomyosins strengthen your cell. So what happens when the cell begins to tear transcellularly right down the middle of the cell? You get these little actomyosin fibrils leaking into your bloodstream. Okay, so we don't want that. So that's one. Second and third are Occludin and Zonulin. Okay, now these are little protein rings that hold the cells together, cell to cell. Okay, and so when they bust, then they leak into the bloodstream. We don't want that. And last, and certainly not least, is Lipopolysaccharides. Okay, these are little cruel little suckers that only belong in your gut, and they do not belong in your bloodstream, because when they get in your bloodstream, then they go to organ tissues. Lipopolysaccharides are an endotoxin that come from a gram-negative bacteria on the outside of the cells of gram-negative bacteria. Gram-negative bacteria are nasty. They can hide in the gut. They can hide everywhere, in your organ systems, etc., and they can wreak havoc and make you sick. Okay, so Salmonella is part of that. Escherichia coli is gram-negative. Heliobacter is gram-negative. Lyme's disease, bummer deal. Okay, so what we have to do is find out if there's an IgA component, IgG, or IgM component. IgM is more acute. It's happening right now. It's usually within a couple of weeks or a month, and it will then turn to IgA or IgG, which is a more chronic long-term condition. So what we want to do is find out what, if anything, is in your bloodstream, and then how do we go about to correct the problem once we find it. And IgM also, in some cases, 20% probably, becomes a chronic marker instead of an acute marker. Either way, when you do the blood work, you get to find out really what you have, and then what is the length of time it's going to take to heal it. Okay, so what are the symptoms of leaky gut? I'd like to just back up and say, hey, how do I get leaky gut? 4 things, real easy. It's either in the food you eat. So what foods are you eating? Basically, everything that's alive and full of color, and grass-fed beef and chickens and turkeys, that's all really good and healthy food, okay? Your dairy, sugars, soy, corn, gluten, all of those things can wreak havoc on your gut. Also are the toxins that we come in contact with on a regular basis, from putting gas in our car to cleaning our houses to using hand sanitizers all the time will destroy the normal healthy biome in your gut. So also not having good gut bacteria, beautiful gut flora. So how do we get that? Well, you can eat fermented foods. So sour is definitely power, okay? Fermented foods, yogurts, kimchi, let's see, kefir, taking a probiotic, we'll get to that, will all help maintain your normal flora. And then last and certainly not least is stress, chronic, long-term stress, anxiety, fear. Stress, anxiety, fear, and not having the right nutrients in your gut. Okay, so that's how you get it. And I'm Dr. J. You can find more information about me. Just click on my website below. See my favorites. I enjoy chatting with you. I look forward to helping you raise the standard of health in your body